No desire and no intention to impose our form of government on anyone else.
All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the show. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are also broadcasting live on social media, and this show is brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. I'm your host, Ryan Stacy. I'm an licensed citizen private investigator, and as the Director of Investigations for the Experiencers Support Association, I use my investigative skills to dive headfirst into the hidden mysteries of UFOs, paranormal activity, and consciousness phenomena. I'm glad to be here, and thank you for tuning in. All right. Are you ready? Well, let's go.
The Ultra Spectrum, putting it all together.
Hi, Lisa. I see you in the comments there. Thank you for tuning in. All right. Where did we leave off last week? Okay. So last week we talked about myself and how I got myself into this mess we call ufology and how I became drawn more towards paranormal and consciousness research. So if you missed that, head back to see episode number 1 if you're interested in that. Today we're going to talk about the Experiencers Support Association, otherwise known as TESA. I'm going to dive a bit deeper into our website, what it has to offer, and if there's time, I'm going to elaborate more on my psychogenic download that I touched on last week's episode. Okay. All right. Ready? Let's go.
Psychogenics and esotericism.
Okay. So this is the Experiencers Support Association. For you radio listeners, you are missing out on these visuals. Please head over to www.experiencersupport.org to see what it is I'm about to talk about. I'm going to put this in the comments here below. If you're in the chat and you have questions, please ask, and we'll go from there. All right. So on the home page, so there's a lot of information here, and I feel like this information is hidden. A lot of people are having a hard time finding this stuff. So I wanted to create an episode where I can explain it in detail, and then if someone is confused, maybe I can reshare this episode and go from there. And then eventually I'm going to start getting into cases. All right. So the home page here we touched on last week at the end of the episode. We'll go into more detail and into what's exactly can be explained on these things here. No, that was published. That shouldn't have been published yet. Oopsie doodles. Okay, so this document here, that's right here, is Canada's involvement in Arrow's historical UAP report. I guess I published what I've been editing so far as a duplicate. I will fix that, but that is a teaser ahead of time, which I wasn't planning for, to let you know what next week's episode is going to be. So, surprise. All right. So in the latest news, you can click entire news feed and it will open up into, as it says, the entire news feed here. I'll show you this, different things here, but there's another way to navigate that. In the news, essentially, I'm going to be talking about Canadian events within ufology, paranormal studies, if anything comes up in the news. And thankfully, the Vatican did some shenanigans and talked about supernatural beings, so I can finally add a paranormal document to the database, which I'm really excited about because paranormal is my roots. I got dragged into ufology not by choice, and I'm stuck in it because there's still that thread of belief that it might have something to do with all this stuff. So again, latest videos, so reels and stuff like that. Any videos that comes from the Experiencers Support Association will be here. You can also visit our YouTube channel. Just visit the Experiencers Support Association on YouTube. This is exactly what it looks like. And of course, visit our friends at UPNRN radio as well. Okay. Latest investigations. This hasn't been updated in a while. But I'm going to be sharing some of these cases in future episodes to start to set the tone as I'm working on current cases and things like that. I'm going to get into that. Again, latest declassified documents. So as things come up, these are randomized as well. So every time you refresh the page, these will be different. They're not in chronological order. And then on our website, we have this database, we have the timeline, we have this persons of interest database. I'm going to get into detail with that. And of course, we have some of these projects that we're working on. And of course, upcoming events. So tomorrow night is Beyond the Tinfoil Hat with Danny Whitson and his guest, Brent Henley. And that's where we're at there. So you get everything you need from TESA on the home page. And of course, there's a store if you ever want to support us financially in that way. And our friends and affiliates are down here. That's it. Now, if you browse the actual menu up top, okay, I spent some time this week making it a little bit easier to navigate because some people are having a hard time finding it. And at the end of each episode, I will let you know the TESA updates at the end of the show. This episode specifically is just for TESA, for that way you guys know what to find when you need to find it. The founder page, okay, that is about me. If you are interested in learning specifically where I've come from, what my background is. So I'm going to share that in the comments here for a quick resource. I'll just close these up here. The team, TESA is nothing without my team. We do have some people that are part of it. I am looking for more people. We'll get into that at the end as well. You know, we got Chris in the background producing the show for Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. He's also helping me with the social posts that you've been seeing on social media. And I'm hoping to get him involved with more things, but he's also doing the most important job, and that's managing my security and investigation company while I'm able to do all these things. So a big shout out to Chris. If you're watching, if you're here, say hello. I got Alex Mistretta. He's my resident cryptozoologist. I am looking to get more cryptozoologists and different backgrounds on here to help with certain things. He has some articles that he wants to write. We have Dawn as well. She's been an amazing writer for some of her experiences. We have Danny, who is a comedian and a magician, who is our podcast host. And of course, Christy, who transcribes her documents, and Michael Hurst, who's a retired police officer that is a writer as well and is going to assist me with some of these investigations. All right. So then we have this interesting page here. This is called Symbols and Icons. Okay. So for those of you on radio, you're going to want to head over to experienceyoursupport.org/symbols-and-icons, or just find it in the About menu. I'll put it here for you guys watching right now. This explains the reason behind the graphics that are used and why we chose to use them in our programs. I'm just scrolling through here to show you the different things that we use that you might see. So this page actually explains why I use them, or why and how they came to be. I'm not going to get into detail on that because we got a lot to go through. So if you're interested in that. Now you have investigations. And experiencers has their own tabs. I'm going to say those two near the end because that's where the meat and potatoes are, if you will. The event calendar. Anytime we have something going on, such as podcasts, workshops, seminars, things like that, it's always going to be here. So here's a handy resource if you're planning your month, things like that around stuff that you want to do. News. This is where we're going to get our news in categories. Okay, so I'm adding categories as we write, as we report. So currently we have team profiles, which announces the teams, where their background's from, why they're part of it. In investigations, I have case studies, digital threats, government transparency, methodology reviews, when I rip apart a lot of things, surveillance technology. In politics, I have things about disclosure, international relations, public perception, and media. In religion, we have cultural practices and spiritual pathways. In science, we have cybersecurity, extraterrestrial research, paranormal research, methodology, space exploration, UAP research and analysis, and ufology. And of course, world, we're covering Canada, but sometimes there's some overlaps because a lot of this UFO crap, unfortunately, has bled over from the American government. So we're getting involved. Contact us. This is how you can reach us if you need anything. And there's a shop here if you are interested in anything. The 2 books that I've published, which is the Canadian Current Events Survey reporting year 2020, and then of course 2021. I'm working on 2022 and 2023 as we speak. I'm also working on rebranding the name of this book so that way it can be a little bit more relevant and easier to find. We also have these cool, only merchandise we really have for TESA right now are these cosmic color changing Frisbees. So if you're interested in that, pretty cool. You get these logos and whatnot on it. If you're interested in that, all those proceeds go back to keeping TESA free and this program free for others. And of course, there's this new Patreon link up here, support disclosure on Patreon. That's how you can find me, talk to me intimately, one-on-one. If you join the enhanced reliability status, I can do a custom freedom of information request for you. I can review some evidence and things like that if you actually require any work. But if you just want to support the show, support what I'm doing, support disclosure, $5 Canadian, which is probably $1 American, just goes a long way to support and back. And of course, I got this private chat that I like to use because I get to talk to you guys one-on-one. So if you're interested in supporting what I do, I'm offering, and TESA, of course, I'm offering that as an extra in our Patreon, and I put that in there. Now, Lisa, I saw you say something. Where are you? Lisa. Lisa says, my experiences are slowing down, not much going on. I'm happy with that. Well, that's good, Lisa. I'm probably going to get into some of those cases of yours there when we get into this stuff. Let's start with, of course, we have podcasts. If you want to learn more about the podcast, we have Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. Click that one there. And the Skeptical Sleuth, I just made this page because this is only episode 2. And that's all set up there if you want to catch up on some past episodes. But check out Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, which is in season 6 with Danny Whitson, which airs tomorrow night, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific. I had Richard Dolan on. I had Grant Cameron. We talked Flat Earth too. I had Chris Stiles. Rex Bear. I had a whole bunch of heavy hitters on here, and I'm hoping to bring them back in this program once I start getting into cases. So that's also available for us there. Now, if you're an experiencer, your experiencer tab is important. This is something you would want to get familiar with. This Experiencers Anonymous link up at the top will basically link you to everything, including Experiencer Day and Experiencer resources. So if you click on Experiencers Anonymous, and this is, I'll explain what this is for the radio. What is EA? Experiencers Anonymous is a free experiencer resource offering a virtual meeting space as a platform for experiencers to gather and discuss their occurrences, emotions, thoughts, and theories in a safe space of peers and like-minded people supporting each other. The idea here is that you're not alone. You get to talk about it and you work out with it. You work it out. As an investigator, there's often a lot of emotion, a lot of strength, a lot of angst and a lot of anger that come with these experiences and without the validation of being believed and things like that. So I wanted to create a resource in which I could refer to when I acknowledge that, I get that initial report and I can sense that there's some cool down that is required or some sense of belonging and things like that. Likewise, if you start with the Experiencer Support Program and you like it, and you may be encouraged to make a report. And that will make it easier for me because then you're not up at 3 o'clock in the morning, writing something in a frantic way. And it might be better for me to understand. But at the same time, having a report when it happens is very good. And then I may refer you to do the Experiencers, to try out Experiencers Anonymous, and then make you do another report later on, and then compare the two. Similar to de-escalating the situation, right? There's been some traumatic event. You got to deal with the people. You got to calm them down, but you collect their statement. You wait a few days. You interview them afterwards, and you kind of figure out what really happened, what details were forgotten, all these other things to establish credibility. The unfortunate part is we do not have a current facilitator for Experiencers Anonymous. I am looking for people that want to volunteer their time or an intern position in which could lead to larger things. And we can start this up again. I have a few prospects in mind. I am working on that, but if you are interested in this program, please reach out to admin at experiencersupport.org. Let us know that you're interested in this program, so that way we have a need to do this. We took a bit of a break because our last facilitator had left the organization to start her own company, which is a very good thing. But I just haven't had any time to do that. I can't do this myself because I need to do the investigations. I don't want to be rude to anybody. I don't want to be short with anybody. I do understand the compassion that is needed, the bedside manner that's needed. I'm just not the guy to do that, and I'm not going to be rude about it either when I'm doing a report. I need to separate the emotions from the facts and the data, but at the same time, I don't want an experiencer to go without something. So this is a really tricky resource because we want credible people to be a part of it. We want credentials. We want to fact check. We want to make sure that we're not creating a harmful space for experiencers in that. So if you're interested in that, let us know. This, again, links to the Experiencer resource page, our private discussion group, which we don't have yet. It's in the works. Professional investigation. So this is how you can make a report. I'll explain that in a few minutes. Private Facebook group, which I'll show you right now. If you want to talk freely about anything, you just head over to facebook.com. I'm going to put this link in the comments here. And if they will open, the group is called Experiencers Anon and UFO Paranormal Monsters Inside. So if you find that, it'll be there. Unfortunately, it's just not showing up on my page, and I don't want to waste time waiting for it. Okay. The Ultra Spectrum Library is a resource that's coming soon. This is one to collaborate with authors that have some books that are for purchase, but that will be helpful to assisting experiencers in their journey. Okay. We meet people all the time that have books and things, these other stuff. There's a rigorous process, which is why it's taking a little bit of time. Of course, we have a newsletter at the bottom of our page. You sign up with your email address. We send a blitz email, a recap of everything that we've done within the month, and then announcements as they come through. So in that, we also have Experiencer Day. Now, Experiencer Day has changed a little bit. So let me see here. Experiencer Day. What is E-Day? Is an annual online event to honor all experiencers who've entrusted us with investigating their personal, unexplained, and unusual circumstances. If it weren't for them, we would not be able to do what we do, and for that, we thank you. All right. So E-Day is December 9th. When is E-Day? E-Day occurs every year on December 9th, and the sum of the date is 12 plus 9 is 3. Numerology suggests that the number 3 is the number of spirituality, creativity, and self-expression. A perfect day for a live virtual event. E-Day is precisely 12 days from the winter solstice on December 21st, which also is the birth date of TESA, which is my experience, which I'm hoping we'll have time. How to participate? E-Day will be streamed live on YouTube channel. Click the banner below to subscribe and all this other stuff. So now that we're part of this bigger network, which is a United Public Radio Network and all the others we mentioned earlier, E-Day might be a little bit different. Because I'm going to, depending on what day it is, we might do a live broadcast with UNPR. I haven't figured that out, but I got till December to figure that out. Essentially, if we don't put on a program, we want this to continually happen. We want one day, we want to try and create a holiday, to recognize experiencers, and that's what we're trying to do with this movement here. Okay. Experiencer resources. This resource page will continue to build as I come across resources or as I come across people who have free resources. It's entitled to be free. I've come across a lot of people that have paid resources, but it's not the intention of TESA. And if I'm going to pay for it, I'm looking at, I need a copy of it first. And then I've been working with some people that don't want to share a copy to encourage me to purchase it and things like that. So I can make it free for you guys. So there's a lot of conflict. But if you guys have experiential resources that you want to add, do you think would help other people? This is, there's an opportunity here. So right now, currently, we have a Wise Mind and mindfulness workshops. So for those of you who understand psychology, the CBT program is very similar. Even though we're talking about experiences and stuff, there's a lot of tools and there's a lot of tricks and things that you can do to help cope with experiences and the trauma that's associated with them. These are just quick assessments here. If you're in Ontario, Canada, there are self-management programs. I haven't really found anything else in my study. I am from Ontario, so I am familiar with this because I use this with my work when need be in the private sector with security investigations. And I'm hoping to add more to this as I meet more people. Lisa says, I missed out on Experience Your Day last year. Not sure how, but I will make sure to not miss Experience Your Day this year. So you didn't miss it, Lisa. We didn't have one because of COVID and everything else ending, and everybody went back to work, and the volunteer time wasn't available. So we weren't able to actually put one on, unfortunately. But it is what it is, and hopefully we're going to be able to rebuild that and continue that for future years. Okay. Disclosure. It is 30 some odd degrees right now, and I am in an attic, and I forgot to turn on my air conditioner. I am sweating like a pig. So I apologize. I'm all over the place because I'm cooking right now. I feel like a pressure cook right now. All right. So investigations. This is the meat and potatoes of my work. A lot of people don't really realize how much information is here. So if you explore the investigation, you're going to get a plethora of information. I got about 15, 20 minutes here before I have to end. So, half an hour. Good for time. Okay, so under the investigation tab, under the annual data sets, okay, you will get to see a preview of some of the reports that I have published in previous years. So this is a 99-page report. No, I have 19 pages here out of this 99-page report. I have 18 pages out of this 110-page report. So we'll look at the most recent one, 2021 Canadian Current Events Survey. We'll probably do, and we'll also look at the 2021 Canadian Event Survey breakdown and yearly comparison. So the breakdown is 9 pages. This is an excerpt from the book. It's right there. You can find it on Amazon as well, or purchase it on the store if you're interested. So this is the breakdown. And what I've done is I've collected events that have happened from government sources: Transport Canada, the Department of National Defence, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, CSIS, all those things. Pun intended, CSIS is the same thing in a sense of that, which is why I'm going to rebrand it. So I break down the characteristics, where they're from. So for this year, Ontario had the most sightings, and this year here, this is the heights. These are some of the heights of these objects reported at almost 400,000 feet. Amount of objects seen, time of day, events by month, category breakdown. So other UFO, and yes, Canada has a category for UFO. Yep, they sure do, as well as unmanned aircraft. So, there are some things in here that I've been tracking and that I've been quantifying and trying to measure patterns to establish what these things are. A breakdown. Some of them are balloons, some of them are drones that are also categorized in the UFO column. Fireworks, kite, RPAS, objects, UAV. And out of all of those, only 2 were considered a UFO, but they're still in that category. So there's a lot of information that comes from that. Questionable data. So here's an example of a report that I've gotten. This is that is questionable. A Service Helicorp Incorporated Robinson R44 from Montreal, St. Hubert Helicraft, Quebec City, Quebec to Montreal, blah, 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 reported a gray triangle-shaped drone flying 600 feet west of the Hydro-Quebec Research Institute. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police of Quebec unit was notified, no impacts to operations. So that's kind of an example. Why I was interested in it is because the triangular shape. Usually drones are kind of box shaped or squared or anything like that. So that's just a quick example on that. You can read this in detail. So this is the yearly comparison. So because I've had 2019, I've been doing this since 2019, I can compare trends over the years. So this is a little bit of a sample that is there. Events by month, again, same information, time of day, all that stuff is here, but it's all plotted in a group. So that way you can see these trends. And the more I investigate, the more I'll be able to narrow down this data to kind of figure out what exactly is going on or get close to it. There's a lot of known things in there that get mixed in the mud, but that doesn't mean that UFOs don't exist. It's just I gotta understand what's real and what's not real, so that way I can focus on that. All right. If you're interested in the entire report, of course, go to Amazon. You can purchase it. If you're interested in seeing all of the declassified documents and my research behind it to come to my conclusions and whatnot. All the data that you need to assist you with your work are in these free versions. You're not paying for information that you don't already have. You're just simply learning how I come to these conclusions, my thoughts on what these cases may or may not be. And it's just essentially my opinion. Is what you're purchasing. Now we get in. That's just one part. Now we're going to get into declassified documents, and I'm going to start with. Let me start with the document archive. So let's click that. Lisa, you're still talking? Lisa said, after being in Egypt for 2 weeks, I don't feel too hot for me, Windsor anymore. Yeah, I guess it would have been a lot hotter there. And she says, drones come in to many shapes today. That is true. Very true. And she also says there are too many things in today's skies for sure. Yeah, that's right. And I'm not saying that everything is explainable. It's just I need to understand enough about how these things operate so that way I can discern the difference to understand what isn't normal. I'm not a pilot. I'm not an expert in any of this aviation stuff. So it's a big learning curve. I've been studying it for a little bit. I've been doing a lot of research to understand what's normal. But anyways, this declassified documents archive is just a running list of everything that has been declassified on our site, and keeps a pattern. But it's also measured in time. So this document event timeline, or documented event timeline, which I'm going to put into the comments as well. This is a chronological timeline. So when a declassified document is inputted in the database, it gets measured in time, because we also need to see. I might get a declassified document today that came from 1961. Okay, yeah, I publish it today. You guys are happy about it, but how does that make sense? So if you continue to scroll down on here, you'll see something that says load more. Click load more, and then on the right-hand side, you're going to see the years. This will pop up. Load more, you can load more, you can keep loading until you find the year that you're looking for. Let me see if that's the end. 1960, I believe, is the end. Or how far back have I gotten so far? 52. So I click on 1952. It's going to scroll down to 1952. If I want to go to 1993, it's going to bring me up to 1993. So 1952, this is important. This is when we start to see a pattern. April 22nd, Defense Research Board meeting minutes on flying saucers. April 24th, another document, 1952. But what's important is it's 2 days later. You wouldn't see that unless it was measured in time. Interrogation report, June 21st. So a couple months afterwards in 1952. So, as I endpoint all these things, they start to, we start to put the pieces of the puzzle together a little bit and have a better understanding of it. This is an ever-growing database and I need help with it if anybody is interested in transcribing documents. And between this are also some cases that I've done. So here's an example. You want to click learn more. Let me do a learn more on two of these because they're two different things, if this will open for me. This declassified document is here. You will see it. You get to read it. It's been transcribed so that way you can read it legibly. or legible. It can be a legible reading. And it's been broken down. Now, this takes time. And we also give credit on where we've retrieved it, who retrieved it. And in here, I mark every single person, every single organization, every single place, and every single object to establish a pattern. Okay. Why is this important to transcribe these documents? Well, if I happen to use my search and I want something on this Das Gupta, whoever that is, in the, I can search it and it will actually find within the system that document. When people upload these documents, they don't transcribe it, it doesn't enter into the SEO. So by us transcribing the documents, this becomes a powerhouse database in which you can actually get information from. It takes a while. It takes time. Again, I need help. If anybody wants to volunteer their time, it could eventually lead into something permanent if we raise enough money, and things like that. So I'm completely, I'm serious when I'm saying that I need help in order to do this at the pace and level that's needed to do. I'm doing a lot on my own, but I need the help. All right. So then if we come back to this one here, same thing on the timeline. This is a civilian case that was investigated, and it does the same thing. This also has certain categories and whatnot. I'll get into that when we get to the next part here. That's more so part of the ultra spectrum, which we're not there yet. Okay. How am I doing for time? Okay, we're good. So that's the timeline. Now, when I mark those categories and you get those tags at the bottom, let's actually go back to that. Let's just pick a random document down here. So these little tags down here that have been done. So if I want to specifically track anything that the Royal Canadian Mounted Police have been mentioned in, I just click that tag and it all comes up. So it makes it really easy for researchers and investigators and journalists to find something that they're looking for and put the pieces together. Okay, now the declassified points of interest. This is where those tags become more important. It's a collection of locations, persons, and organizations mentioned or directly involved in the declassified documents section. It's designed to link the documents while providing investigators and research association data with these events. So we have persons. So now we have every person. But if that person appears in another document, it will have a running list. For an example, C.J. Davis is a corporal within the, I'm going to guess the RCMP, because these are RCMP, but corporal might be Air Force. I don't know. I have to look at the documents to specifically know this person's rank. And as in these initials, are there, but because the redaction process is interesting, they don't redact everything. And they don't redact the same thing. They don't have the same level of redaction that's required depending on the document. So sometimes I can figure out through other documents who the C and what the J stands for because they didn't redact it, or it was entered in the report. So this is another important thing, that these tags will change and migrate over time. So for, this is a hot commodity in this sense. There's some interest. This person is significant. Why? Because it was mentioned in so far 5 documents. Right. So this helps me quickly, determine who my persons of interest are. And as we go through these documents, more of those things will pop up. We'll see more trends. Organizations, so APRO has been mentioned a few times back in 1967. Canada, United States, joint stuff, Coast Guard. These are all organizations that were mentioned. And then that is also categorized. And we also have associated persons. It's also good to associate who these people work for. Okay. Department of Transportation, yada, yada, list goes on from there. Then the next pile is places. Where are these things happening? There's Canada, British Columbia, a part of Manitoba, Falcon Lake. You all know that one, Winnipeg, Northwest Territories, all this other stuff specifically. Then we get into China was mentioned. Germany is mentioned. Germany's mentioned a lot, FYI, hint. House of Commons, Italy, Russia, United States of America is mentioned quite a lot in these Canadian documents. I wonder why. And then objects, how many of these objects are in the air? So aerial activity, all of these objects, of course, talk about aerial activity, but then some of them mention balloons. Some of them mention cylindrical objects. E3 Sentry. So this is a specific craft that's been mentioned. F-16, F-35, flying saucers. So the word flying saucer was used. I'm also tracking and measuring the language that they're using to determine whether or not, to separate the good from the bad, because there's a lot of misinformation here. And this is a really good resource. It gets updated every time. And of course, projects, the Condon Committee, Noble Eagle, Project Theta. Project Theta is pretty interesting too. Right now, I'm working on the Arrow document that was released, because there's a crap ton of associations and objects names and things like that. It'll be a huge resource for this database, of course, and it will definitely put some pieces together. And it does reference some of these Canadian projects too. So that is a heavy page to use. What did Lisa say? You said, unless a UFO comes down, you don't know what it is. That's true. I saw an object same size of the moon moving slowly until it disappeared into the clouds. It was glowing orange. What was it? Well, size of the moon. That's pretty big. So it could be close. I don't know. Have to see an image of it. It sounds frustrating for you working on it alone. Oh, yeah, it definitely is. I love doing what I'm doing, and I know exactly what needs to be done. But I'm paying a lot of money to keep this free for myself, and I want to share this with those who want to be a part of this for the ride. Of course, training's involved. Have to make sure that you're not just trying to get information and scoop it, and make sure you're not a misidentification agent or misinformation agent, like some of these folks that have been trying to get a backdoor access and whatnot. But if you're legit, then we got something going on. So then we have the visual evidence database. So the visual evidence database, same idea, except this is where they are physically. So we measure in time, we measure in association, and now we're measuring in proximity. All three of these perspectives are important for every single investigation, no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're investigating. All these elements are important. So the system is designed that when we input these documents, it gets shared amongst these databases, so we can look at it collectively, and we can also look at it separately, depending on what piece of evidence we are looking for. And that varies depending on what you're doing. So primarily in Canada, of course, but working in Canada, I also have to add some American things as well, because it's in these documents. It should be no secret that Canada and the United States do protect each other and keep each other's secrets, and things like that. So you can click on these plots. It'll bring you nice and close. You click on these, it'll show you what it's about. It gives you the transcript. And again, this is going to funnel you back to that declassified document page. Same idea. So if you're interested in what has been happening in a certain area, and if you notice that the coordinates are wrong, these are accurate, these are guesstimates, you let me know. If this is a civilian case on here, please know that the exact location has been modified to protect your identity and to protect your location. It's close, but it's not exact. Okay, it's got to be close to be accurate for the plot. I'm not going to have you in the next town over, but maybe a couple blocks here and there in the general vicinity. If you are an experiencer and you see and you think it's too close, because only you will know that, public won't know, you let me know and we'll move it. What's really fascinating about this database, which I'm really happy when we spent a lot of time creating it, is that it includes everything. But if you want, Ariel, you can specifically toggle off certain things so that way you can see patterns. So let's just do government buildings. No, let's just do pyramids, for example. Mines are still there. Residual evidence, turn that off. Pyramids are there, turn the mines off. Okay, so as these things come up in these cases, we also plot these things up. Beings observed, turn that off. I don't have that many pyramids in there, do I? No, shouldn't be any pyramids. Except for this weird one, way the heck down here in Antarctica. Nice little pyramid there. So I put that in. So as I come through my research and go through these cases, I will build that. If you want to help build this database and you just want to plot landscapes and things like that, I could use your help on that too. Teach you how to use the back end. And that would be very helpful on this part too. Okay, so now that we're there, ultra spectrum classification system, we might have to do an episode on that one on its own. I'm just looking at time here. Maybe that'll be next week's episode. So so then you can also find event reconstruction videos. So these are just little videos that we've created in the past on for experiencers. I'm not quite sure if you're going to hear it, so I'll just play a little sample here. We kind of recreate the event as explained. I'm just going to mute this. As it was explained, so for you on radio, you want to head over to YouTube and check these out. Just a little doodly explaining the event from the lens of the experiencer. The purpose of these are to get other people who may have seen the same thing to report, to add more information to the puzzle. And of course, I add information about the ultra spectrum. So the case number, the category, beings observed, the type, it's a humanoid, subtype bipedal, all these other things. So maybe that might be, I'll get into that for next week's episode. Let me write that down. Recreation videos. All right. So that'll be our theme for next week's episode because that'll take some time. You can watch these. If you've seen anything, then it might encourage you to make a report. If there's time, we will. Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to think. There's lots of other things I want to cover, but I'm limited to time. Event categories. Okay, so if you click these event categories, same idea. It's the same language from the ultra spectrum: aerial activity, beings observed, paranormal activity, psychogenic, residual evidence, visitation. Click on whatever category you're interested in, and everything. It cross-pollinates, not just declassified documents, but also civilian investigations are mixed between that. Research and evidence. Oh, that's an old menu that's got to turn off. I'll write that down. Remove that and then fix arrow document. I can do that too. Lots of stuff to do. Okay. Research and investigation tools. So just like experiencer section, I've been finding free resources that could help other investigators solve these cases on their own. Okay. There are some paid ones that I use. There are some trade secrets that I keep to myself because they also apply to my private investigating firm. So I need to keep some things under my hat. But when I come across something that's similar, that's free, there's a lot of resources here. So I want to share this one in the link here. Lisa says, there's more UFO reports in Canada than we know. It would be great to have more people looking into it right now. Yeah, I'm trying, Lisa. I want volunteers. I want people. So let me know. All right, so there's the research investigation tool. So here you got acronyms and definitions, classification system. There's my classification system right there. Data sets and reports, quick references, searchable databases, searchable mapping systems. All these things are useful for during some types of investigations. And as I come across more, I'm going to continue to build this resource to assist investigators because most investigators are experiencers. All right. Visual evidence database, we've done that. The ultraspectrum classification system is here. I'll go into detail with that in a future episode. And let me see, I think that covers everything. Yes. So I did say if there was time, I wanted to share more of my experience. So if I were to go in here and type in, what was it, TESA? Or no, I guess if I go about symbols and icons. Yes. So this is about my experience, my psychogenic experience. All right. The map is an image created by myself through what we understand was a psychogenic download on December 21st, 2018. The purpose and meaning remain a mystery, right? However, we have come to see this as a map of a possible location as well as an individual personalities and skill sets. whole bunch of things. Basically, this is an image that I've seen. I don't know where it came from. This is where I'm starting to understand psychogenics and consciousness and how it worked and blah, blah, blah. But then I spent many years privately trying to figure out what it works with. And I've written an article. And I'm hoping I have time to read it. So bear with me here. It's a long one, but it's important. Okay, so on the winter solstice of 2018, a day soaked in symbolism and revered across various cultures as a pivotal point of change and rebirth, I experienced a profound vision that would fundamentally alter the course of my life. The vision, an intricate tapestry woven from symbols steeped in ancient lore and personal significance, unfurled in my consciousness, revealing a narrative deeply rooted in both the mystical and the existential. It was as if the universe chose this specific day, symbolizing the end of one cycle and the birth of another, to import the transformative experience. This profound event marked a personal transformation and laid the foundation stone for the Experiencer Support Association. All right. As the world once again approaches the shortest day of the year in 2023, I find myself immersed in contemplation, reflecting on the remarkable journey that unfolded from the solstice to this. The vision that once perplexed and intrigued me has now become a guiding force, shaping my understanding and influencing the direction and ethos of TESA. The organization, born from a moment of profound revelation, has evolved over these 4 years, paralleling my growth and deepening my understanding of the intricate tapestry of existence that the vision first revealed. So the winter solstice vision, timing, and impact. Now, this is the first part because I'm still studying. Okay, the winter solstice, traditionally at times symbolizing the cyclic dance of death and rebirth, and marked a pivotal moment in my life and the inception of TESA. This day, rich in ancient meaning, herald not just in the end of the longest night, but also the dawn of a transformative era, both personally and the organization, and I was inspired to create. Let me just zoom in here so I can read. Yeah, perfect. Inspired to create. As I reflect on this journey 4 years later, during the solstice of 2023, it's evident how this moment became a harbinger of evolution and growth. All right, I'm doing for time. Good. Analyze. So for that pivotal 2018 winter solstice, the unfolded vision brought distinct themes for each ensuring year, mapping out a path from analyze to the anticipated contact in 2024. This progression encapsulates the evolution of TESA. Analyze 2019. So for those of you who have followed me all the way through, think back on these events that have occurred through the growth of TESA. 2019 embarked on a deep introspection and critical assessment, pivotal of the shaping of TESA's future. This phase involved scrutinizing existing paranormal and UFO research paradigms and identifying gaps and areas needing improvement. It was a time for thoughtful contemplation, questioning established norms, and envisioning what TESA could offer. The foundation stage sets the tone for TESA's approach, and emphasizing open mind inquiry and rigorous analysis, which are crucial for building an organization grounded in credibility and thorough understanding. Assemble 2020 marked for the crucial gathering of ideas, resources, and people essential for TESA's formation. This stage united a diverse community of thinkers, researchers, and experiencers. It involved creating a solid framework for the organization, establishing its goals, and laying down its operational structures. Collaboration and teamwork were essential during this phase, as they were instrumental in transforming the vision of TESA into a tangible, functioning entity poised to delve into the realms of the unknown with a collective approach. 2021, Deconstruct, was a transformative period for TESA, where existing beliefs and narratives in the paranormal and UFO fields were critically examined and reevaluated. This stage involved challenging conventional wisdom and dismantling misconceptions that had long been barriers to understanding. It was a time for rigorous scrutiny of intentional assumptions and external information to shed outdated ideas and pave the way for more accurate, nuanced perspectives. Deconstruction was essential for rebuilding TESA's approach on a foundation of more reliable evidence-based understanding. Rebuild 2022 was a time of restoration and growth for TESA. Following the critical deconstruction of the previous year, this period we were focused on reconstructing our approaches and methodologies based on newer, more robust understandings. It was about strengthening the organization's foundation with enhanced credibility and renewed trust. Efforts were concentrated on developing more refined research techniques, fostering stronger community ties, and rebuilding the narrative around paranormal and UFO phenomenon with a fresh, more informed perspective. This rebuilding phase was crucial in solidifying TESA's role as a credible and progressive force in the field. Unite 2023 is centered on harmonizing the experiences and insights gathering over the past years. It's a period for consolidation for TESA, where the focus is on integrating the varied perspectives of our community. This stage is about fostering a sense of unity and shared purpose among members, researchers, and experiencers. It involves creating a cohesive network, combining different viewpoints, and finding to form a more comprehensive understanding of paranormal and UFO phenomena. This phase aims to strengthen the collective voice and impact of TESA, enhancing collaboration and solidarity in the quest for knowledge. Now, here we are, 2024. Contact. Now, it's important to know that these 5-year stages was accompanied this vision that I had back in 2019. I was given these words, and I didn't really understand what these words meant until now, or when I wrote that article in 2023. So TESA anticipates deepening engagement and interaction within the paranormal UFO community. This period will be marked by proactive outreach, fostering direct connections with experiencers, researchers, and the wider public. Focus will be expanding our network, initiating collaborative projects, and actively participating in dialogues that bridge the gap between anecdotal experiences and scientific exploration. Contact signifies a move towards more tangible interactions and relationships, enhancing TESA's role as a conduit for shared understanding and discovery in the field of the unexplained. Now, these events that have occurred naturally, and they've been on point with this. Our year is April, not the calendar year, because that was changed. Remember, we have 13 months, 28 days. There's a month missing. April is the start of the year, April, March, depending on what is going on here. So we're now into May, and now we have a partnership with UPNR Radio. Things like this or synchronicity is happening here. But I didn't really catch on to this until I wrote this article, that all these things, even though this idea and this vision or this message was given to me in 2019. Now, that doesn't mean I'm a prophet or anything. It's just this could be my higher consciousness. This could be my future self talking to my present self. Like, who knows? I'm still understanding that. It could be it could be a coincidence for all I know. I'm not going to that point. I'm just letting you know. I'm just trying to give you some context of how I came to these revelations. Let me go back here. Lost my spot. Now I had to decipher this tapestry. I only got 5 minutes here, so I don't think I can continue that because we don't have time. But I'll put this in the link. You guys can read it. And I'm just going to summarize here. We got triangles in alchemic context. We have circles with a dot, the plus sign, crescent shapes, spirals and swirls, glyph-like shapes, seal of Solomon, the Templar cross, yin-yang, Masonic symbols, the 7-level arts and science, 5 elements, zodiac, Knights of the Round Table, black triangle, Masonic tools. We have Anu. We have the spectrum of paranormal consciousness phenomenon. We have all of those things in this symbol. But this is also information I did not have when I had the experience, because I had to learn this in the future. And since I've learned it from this, and that's how I link it. The actual event itself happened. Nothing else has happened since. Everything that I've learned since then is just me focusing on this and trying to understand what it means. TESA came from the letters here. But it's not just TESA. It's also Aset, which is Isis, which is backwards for TESA. And there's a whole bunch of information here that you can get into here. There's also colors in here that represent the Order of the Eastern Star, which is the female fraternity within Freemasonry. There's significance there. So we go back and you see those colors here and again, radio listeners, you want to get on YouTube here because you're missing stuff. And then I keep going through. I explain the synchronicities and all that other stuff, what it might mean, and what I'm going to do from there, and end it. And I'm focusing on writing a part 2. All right. So let me get ready to end this show.
TESA news and updates.
All right. Where's my screen? Is that my screen? Nope. There we go. Okay, so Patreon. Let me see here. We're looking for, so as I mentioned before, we're looking for people to assist us in disclosure, helping me transcribe and catalog Canadian declassified documents. We're also looking for writers, podcasters, and those who are interested in assisting us with research. We haven't made an official post yet, but if you hear it here, send an email to admin@experientialsupport.org and let us know what you're interested in, how you can help, and what you want in return. That's important. Even though you're volunteering your time, maybe we can give you some marketing. Maybe we can exchange some services, work on a bartering system, not necessarily free with currency, but maybe there's something we can do. Just be mindful of time here. Angela, hi, Angela. Good to see you. Tomorrow night is Beyond the Tinfoil Hat with Danny Whitson, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 3 p.m. Pacific, right here, same place where you're watching this or listening to this, and go from that. Also, you can join me at Patreon, patreon.com/heedtheworld, and help us keep this program and all TESA resources free for those who need it. And one more thing before you go, if you had a mysterious encounter with the paranormal, UFOs, extraterrestrials, or any other paracryptid phenomenon, head over to experiencialsupport.org, click the purple button at the top right corner, and submit your experience. The more reports we get, the more we will understand this phenomenon and how they affect our people. The others who have already reported be that example that proves we're making a difference. And if it wasn't for these reports, we would not do what we do. And for that, we thank you. Thank you for tuning in for this episode of The Skeptical Sleuth. We are broadcasting live in the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Network, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are also broadcasting live on social media, and the show was brought to you by the Experiential Support Association. So tune in. Thanks for tuning in. Keep your eyes in the sky, and as always, heed the world.
If you want to really, really find out about Ryan, ask him about all his work and UFOs in Ontario.
Ryan is one of Canada's leading new UFO investigators. He conducts and oversees UFO investigations on a constant basis. He's compiled a tremendous amount of data regarding UFOs in Canada.
I have used his research extensively. He's much more than a one-dimensional character. He's an authority on UFOs and investigating them, Meg.
Wow!
Really goes over how UFO investigations are done and what are some of the mistakes that people make when they submit evidence. For starters, don't edit your videos or photos before you send them.
He would come out with an annual report on not only the number of sightings, but how many were unexplained, unknown, or just, nothing could be said. What caused it?
If you want to hear more follow-up conversation between Ryan and myself, you can go to richardolanmembers.com, where we have a candid conversation on ufology, the paranormal, and more. And remember, while we learn and grow and search for the truth, let's be good to each other.